I'm Lola.
And I'm Mamuna. Together, we've a combined 35 years of experience within the tech scene in North America and Europe.
We talk about the highs, the lows, the WTFs of navigating the technology industry and answer your questions about navigating tech careers.
This is Lost in Tech. Are you going to sing the song for us?
No.
What's so fast? No. Sing it, Lola. So, because they don't know what I'm
trying to remember the non-singing parts of like Aaron Burke, Sir, and I can't remember. Like I can hear it in my head, but the only bit that sticks is the singing bit, and I do not sing on the podcast.
So what I'm trying to get her to sing is the topic we're going to talk through right now is being senior, yet not in the room. You're still not in the room. And so I was trying to see if she would sing us.
I hummed it.
Alexander Hamilton. Everyone's seen it by now, right? So I feel like I'm not spoiling anything.
I mean, if they haven't, they should. It's going to be a multi-decade stage show, so go see it.
So good.
Yeah. So what is the question?
Yeah. So I think a lot of folks have experienced this where they feel that they are at that level in the organization. They are senior. They are having the conversations, yet they are not in that room, in like the decision-making room or whatever it is. And they feel like either how do I get into that room or why am I not in that room? Like what's going on in that room? So we're here to talk more about like what's going on in that room. And that should be like the thing that you're really focusing on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I will say this from my experience as an individual who I would say experience-wise, I believe I am C-suite level. But I have chosen jobs where I am not just vertically climbing, right? I've kind of pursued my interests over and above like job title promotions. And that's been very intentional for me based on like, if I'm bored, I don't want to be here. And there have been a couple of times when I've been in the room, like 10 years ago, I was in the leadership team of an agency turning over millions of pounds of revenue per year, world brand clients, like doing all the things. And you know what was in that room every Monday morning? Finance spreadsheets. Like it's like if you want to be in the room where people don't sleep because we haven't been paid by a client and now we need to figure out how to do payroll next month. Carry on, Aaron Burr. But, I think, I think there are real misunderstandings about what that room looks like. Or I'll give you another example, being in a company in the UK where I ran the UK-wide operations for a financial provider. And what that room meant was knowing absolutely that there was zero innovation going to happen in my job, right? It was like paperwork. I spent 2 years, I'm not even joking, 2 years, first as a contractor, then continued as a full-time employee, preparing how to justify design decisions for an auditor. That occupied my time as the senior person. And that, like, the lengths I went to protect the senior people on my team, because I was like, if I have to do this, I need you to do the creative work. I need you to drive excellence. What I don't want to do is add these 5 meetings into your calendar where we are doing fake audits so that we will pass a real audit. And the amount of paperwork, dude, that room is way
not glamorous
worse than you think
it
is.
Like,
dude, no.
Mine has been filled with legal things, financial things, or like security operational issues.
Yep.
Something went down, a ton of money somewhere, like past companies were for, like money dropped because of an incident. Quick, fix it. Okay,
Yeah.
how do we work through
Yeah.
this? Okay, let's work through the financial spreadsheets. What's the implications of this? Like, it's not as glamorous or as exciting. It's perversely exciting. It's like if you enjoy things that are just hard, that are
This is the
dry.
thing. And I remember the last time I was in this position, I'm overseeing a 250 person org. And I had to have a real conversation with myself and be like, all of my years of experience, all of my craft development, all of my investment in self, paying for my own professional development. And I am here in a spreadsheet
Spreadsheets.
after spreadsheet, monitoring the decisions that incredibly senior people have already made about people they know way better than I do. And my job is to enforce a curve. When I tell you, I'm pretty sure, when I look back in hindsight, I didn't realize it at the time. I'm pretty sure that's the moment I quit that job for me. So I'm like, I think the room is more boring than people realize it is. And I think when, the more senior you become and the bigger the company, the more those rooms are occupied with the business of running the basics. It's like you become housekeeping for your company.
Yes.
And the really interesting stuff gets done by people who don't have to submit budget sheets and who don't have to spend hours in litigation or talking to HR about can we or can we not fire this person for doing this thing, or is that even a legal document, or signing purchase orders that
Let's
are
think through
hundreds
terms
that
of
have come through.
service. Are our terms of service up to date?
I really think people need to be clear on what they are worried about when they think they're not in the room. And I also think, so this is also like a recognition of something that's happening within you. And it goes back to the question, the three questions that I've kind of said over and over again on this podcast. Are you happy with your job?
One.
Are you happy with the environment in which you are doing the job? And are you happy with the growth trajectory that you've got in front of you if you were to try and level up?
Yep.
If you were talking more about, I feel like I need to be in the room, then you're trying to find purpose, and that means you probably don't have it. And the room is more like a metaphor for you need to work on whether or not you have outgrown your role or your company or your environment.
Which is conversation you can get
it's
to.
a conversation.
Yes.
And it might mean you end up in the room. Maybe.
But honestly, I would hope that that's not the end for you. Like I would hope that it would
that can't
say,
be the
okay,
goal.
it's just like you have a conversation and you come out of it hopefully more fulfilled because you have a direction, clear direction, an articulation of where you're going and fulfillment and like what you're going to do at the end of, or like on the way towards that thing, right?
Yeah.
But I feel strongly that if you think you are going to be fulfilled by getting to a certain room or group, you're going to probably be disappointed if that was like the main thing you're hoping for. So I think, as Lola had mentioned, clarifying what it is that is driving you to feel like that is your goal, and maybe teasing that out more so you have more fulfillment on your path to wherever you're going. But we don't, the room is not when we're thinking about like big strategic decisions and whatever, like that probably is happening like to some degrees in like conversations with the board and others. But I bet you the conversations you're having with your teams, like those are things that are going into informing some of the big swings that the company wants to make. And so like finding ways with your manager or whoever you're working with to understand, okay, how can I impact? Like if strategy is like where you're feeling a gap, if that's a thing, or you want to have more operational say, or you want to make recommendations, whatever. Okay, great. You articulated the thing that you're missing. How can you now have a voice in that?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that you can start to kind of work towards.
I think also when you're a senior person, but you feel like you're not in the room,
right?
You might want to consider that that's by design. I think, I go back to one of the roles I was in, when it was the agency, we made a decision to sell this agency 2 years before it happened. But you can't sell an agency in public. because that agency only has value if it's acquiring new clients, and new clients aren't going to come on board to an agency that's about to be sold. They're going to find an agency that's going to be around. So you want your staff to not feel worried about their jobs. You want new clients to feel like they know what they're doing, and not everybody is good at fronting that reality. So you're then like, do I want to tell you something that you're going to have to lie about? Do you have the ability to do that? Does it put you at risk of leaving? So that information, there's like a separation of church and state in that. You need to not know it in order to be able to do your job well, or we're waiting for a massive investment, or there's a huge legal case that might have massive ramifications. It needs to be discussed in some places, but it can't be widely known. And your job is to maintain a certain amount of ignorance about that fact.
The thing that popped into my mind, we were speaking about good leadership and like bad leadership in one of our previous episodes, and we talked a lot about how sort of good leaders can absorb a thing, and help to either communicate what needs to be known or keep managing the team as it needs to be managed. Whereas bad leaders, like, they come from a meeting and like, oh my gosh, and their frantic energy or whatever is being put onto the team, right? So if like a manager, if we have to change a direction and the manager's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And they come into this meeting like, guys, everything we're doing is going to be blown apart, and we're going to, and you're sitting there like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Like, tell me more, Imagine, like, is that the person? Like, you can't bring everyone into those rooms because not everyone is built for that. Like, it just is. And I bet you that person probably would like to not be in that space, to have that weight of that information to then now distill what they need to distill down to the team.
Yeah. I completely agree that not everyone's built to be in those rooms. I think, it's kind of a Wizard of Oz moment. If you think about entering a leadership structure, like you go into the leadership level of a company, or you're in like the C-suite level of a company, or the VP, and the number of people in the room gets smaller and smaller and smaller. It's like you've gone behind the curtain with the Wizard of Oz, and your perception of people really changes.
Yes.
And that's not to say that the people in that room didn't work hard to get there, or are not good people, or can't do their jobs. But I think you are now exposed to the constant and continuous trade-off discussions that are happening within a company. It's like, again, we're going to have to cancel this project and lay people off, not because we don't believe in the project, but because we've got this other thing that's significantly bigger. And when we weigh it up, we need to care more about that thing. Now, that doesn't mean some people might be able to express care and concern for the people who get laid off.
Sure.
Other people are just going to be like, it's the bigger picture. Suck it up. Get it done. Like, you lose respect for them because you're like, how could you be so dismissive of people? But then they could flip it back on you and be like, okay, so what would you do then?
Right.
You've got A, B, and C. And you can see we can only do one of the three. Which one are you going to do? And you have to then almost be like, shit, I can't make a different call. I just didn't like the way you said it.
You said it. Right.
Right. And then you see these dynamics play out, and you see these little infights and arguments. And in good leadership teams, everyone comes out of the room and you're on the same page and people represent well to the company, like you said. In bad leadership teams, one of those people walks out and is like, oh my God, and this is crazy. But the vetting for entering the room has to be that you know how to be in the room.
Steady.
And then you know how to lead after you've left the room. Yeah. But don't assume that not being in the room means you're not trusted, or you're not good enough, or you're not capable. It's just a unique thing. And I actually do think not everybody should be in that room for their own integrity, for their own. I choose not to be in that room anymore.
Well-being. Sometimes like to carry that weight it's
a lot.
It can be a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be a lot.
It's a lot.
All the feelings in that, right? If you have to think about layoffs, if you think about like all the different things that you are carrying around, it can be a lot.
There's also some practicalities. Like you say you want to be in the room where it happens. Okay, that's about 5 or 6 more meetings per week in your calendar.
If only.
If you want to be in the room where it happens, and that means taking on extra people, okay, that's like 12 more end of year promotion, professional development, reviews, one-on-ones. Are you ready for that paperwork? Okay, you got
Yes.
this? Because I still need you to execute
And
on the
people are
other
people.
stuff.
People are people. Like, it is not just like, okay, like, let's go through each person. Like, you are now leading a swath of people and things. And with those swaths of people and things, lots of changes are going to come back down that you have to manage the communication for, the changes for.
Yeah. And only in the biggest companies, I think, do you have a path to seniority that doesn't really involve people management.
Yes.
Because in a lot of companies, if you want that money, you want that title, you want that responsibility, I have to give you people because it's not fair otherwise. In very large tech companies, yeah, there might be like an IC path to leadership, but you're never going to be in the room as it relates to like full-time company strategy because the skin you have in the game is very different to everyone else who's like leading entire organizations and the way that they need to think about those decisions. Like, maybe you'd be fun to have in some conversations, but you don't own the same level of accountability as everyone else. So there is a ceiling on your seniority as well. Like, and none of this to say it's bad. This is not gatekeeping. I just think if people go back to that question of like, what are you really asking for? You're asking for growth, and have that conversation with your boss. And maybe it lets you in the room. Maybe it sets a different path, but
either way,
that room is, and if you haven't watched Hamilton, go watch it because Aaron Burr never got in that room and then he ended up doing some stupid shit. I mean, he actually did get in the room, but he always believed he was left out. He had this chip on his shoulder, right? Which is also like, think about where you already are and actually whether or not you're missing something. Maybe you're
you're missing anything.
Maybe you're not, but good luck.
I'm curious to see what people say. Please do share your experiences.
Comment.
Comment, like, subscribe, all those fun things, please. Thank you.
We've made this show for you, and we want to hear your stories. We have our combined 35 years experience in tech. We have an incredible bank of experts to call on. We are your safe space. So send us your tech challenges, and we'll help you create some draft decisions through some real talk.
You've been listening to me, Mamuna Oladipo.
And me, Olayo Pearson.
Edited and produced by me, Michael Bussa, with theme music by 031 Mash.
Email us at help@lostintechpodcast.com or DM us at lostintechpod.